Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Techwood Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. Today, we're going to be breaking the top 10 stocks that our group members see value in, and we already have some in the live chat. If you would like me to break down your top stock, all I literally ask you to do is to share it in that live chat and drop a thumbs up if you feel like we earned it. You do have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel to partake in this video. So again, if you ever want to tune on in, we host these every single Sunday right around 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So please feel free to subscribe and tune on in whenever it is that we do host these. Without further ado, looks like Stay Green is asking for me to break down Costco, which is ticker symbol COST. I do remember breaking down Costco a few weeks ago. Costco looks like it has been continuously ripping up, very overextended on the larger time frames. When looking at this on the 4-hour time frame, again, we all can see value in different ways, but we could see that the RSI itself has hit highs of 90. It's right now sitting right around 78, looking very overbought, very overextended, very bullish, right? We have to give credit where it's due, but very, very overextended. Anytime something rips up like this, it's just second nature for me to think that it's gonna pull back and correct itself as it's maybe become a little bit more overhyped. When looking at this on the day chart, we could see that it does have strong rallies, but after those strong rallies, it does correct itself. Strong rally, it does correct itself. Nice rally, strong correction. And now we have hit highs, all-time highs of 650 or 661. So again, it's not that it has to pull on back. It's just more realizing that because of how overextended this is and because of how overbought this is, the risk to reward ratios just wouldn't make sense to me. I respect it. I love it. It's just something that I'm going to have to follow up with when maybe it does pull on back. I've kind of missed the train on this one. When I see something this overbought, this overextended, that's kind of just where my mind goes of, okay, if you're in this, then great, all power to you. You know, you can still continue to ride it until there is confirmation of that change of direction. But if you're not in it, kind of like myself, it's kind of just appreciating it from afar and knowing that you've kind of missed the rally on this, and maybe it's just best for us to wait for a little pullback, and then once it does look oversold and like it's pending for a reversal, then we can go ahead and revisit Costco. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. One thing that I do want to remind you is we're getting a few messages of how you guys can watch me trade live. If you're not part of our LPP team already, it's the second link in the description down below. It's $175 off right now, and it's a one-time payment, lifetime access, and you'll be able to get to watch me trade live every single day, starting tomorrow on Monday, right at market open. So if you feel lost with the market because you're doing this all on your own, and you feel like it would be useful to be able to watch someone enter and exit and share the thought process behind these trades every single morning, then again, take 2 minutes and click that second link in the description down below to see if our LPP team is a good fit for you. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got Het asking for AMD. So looks like AMD is also a little bit more on the bullish side of things, right? NASDAQ has been very, very bullish recently. So we can see that it's hitting highs of 139. I would kind of resort to the same type of approach that we've been talking about with the NASDAQ market. Again, if you have a different opinion, if you think that no, AMD is cheap right now and you think it's going to go to 164, then again, feel free to share your opinion, right? We're all entitled to our own opinions. But as of right now, looking at the RSI, trading at 76 RSI, looking at how overextended it is, how much pullback potential there is, and for the potential profit, let's use the little trendline tool to make it easier, right? Let's put the percentages into work. So the upside potential based off of previous highs is around 17.5%. Great, right? What's the downside risk? Well, the downside risk to the EMA is 14.2%. To the moving average, it's 23. And if we correct ourselves to previous support, that's 59%. So the risk to reward ratios just don't make sense to me. Obviously, direction is very, very favorable. So if you wanted to approach it as a day trade, that's a different thing. But when it comes down to a swing trade at these levels, it's kind of more of, okay, I've missed the train, and it more of just watching and waiting for the market to kind of correct itself. But again, if you have a different perspective or opinion about this, feel free to share it in that live chat, as I'm sure other people would appreciate it as well. Let's go ahead and go to MGB. What's going on, Brian Wagner? So we got MGB. Let's go ahead and break this one down. So MGB, looking at the day chart, I'm trying to have a better understanding of its true direction. So now I stepped on the week chart, right? Different time frames give you different perspectives of the specific stock, right? So the thing that I really like about this, Brian, is that you're at least paying attention to stocks that are incredibly bullish over a long period of time. Like we're looking back to the year 2009, 2012, 2015, 16, right? Very bullish. It looks like it retraces to the moving average and it validates it. And then it rallies once again, pulls on back, retraces to the moving average, and then reverses once again. So what do you guys think? I want to get your guys' opinion down in the comment section. What do you think? Do you think it's a good deal right now? Or looking at what we can see from this week chart, do you think that it's overbought enough that it's maybe due for a pullback, right? So we bounced off the moving average, we rallied, we hit highs of around 160, then we corrected ourselves back to that moving average. It consolidates here, right to lows of 110, trades sideways around 120, and then it rallies once again. In my opinion, it looks a little bit more on the overbought side, and it also, again, looks like it has a little bit lower trading volume. So the trading volume here, when I see these broken candles, just due to the dollar amount that I trade with, I normally like to be a little bit more careful with something like this. So I'm not the biggest fan. And one thing that I'm actually noticing right now is that is the ticker symbol that I typed in. Yeah, the ticker symbol that I typed in is wrong. So this wasn't even the one that you wanted me to break down. So you are asking for me to break down, yeah, due for a pullback. So Brian, I don't know if, so any type that I type in MGB, nothing is popping up. So I don't know what ticker symbol that is, or if that's not traded in the US markets, then I won't have access to breaking that down. Okay. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got Muhammad with RKLB. RKLB. So we got Rocket Lab USA. Okay, so on the day chart, doesn't look the best. Looks like it had a nice little pop off to highs of $6. Maybe that's why it came out in your radar. To me, anytime something is trading like this, so again, it's very easy to see on the day chart, it looks like it gets manipulated from time to time. So if you ever want to see what a pump and dump looks like, it pumps and then it sells off for the remainder of the time. It pumps for a very short period of time and then it sells off for the remainder of time. It pumps and then it sells off for the remainder of the time. It pumps and then it sells off for the remainder of the time. So again, this is just important to note that the characteristics of what this is showing me are just pump and dumps, and it mainly sells off. So because of that, there's no reason I need to break it down anymore. It's just not worth the risk because it does not meet my criteria. It is more bearish than it is bullish, and it only rallies when it's getting pumped, and it's very short-lived, right? So if you're not early or you don't have the edge on that, then it's probably not something that you're going to want to take the risk on, at least not for me, right? You can do whatever it is that you want. So MDB, Ricky, sorry. Okay, I'll go ahead and break it down for you. MDB. All right. Yeah, this one's a little bit different. Let's look at the week time frame. Okay, so it is bullish. It did have a pretty decent pullback. Let's look at the day time frame here. It's kind of all over the place. It's hard for me to be able to see the direction. So it looks like it came from lows of 150, now trading at highs of 420. It's gotten rejected here before. So if it surpasses 420, then again, the next milestone are going to be these ones up here right around the 560, 590. I know nothing about this company though, so it's something that I'm going to have to look a little bit more into. But it looks like it has a common support range right around this EMA line at the 330 range. So again, the big what if it doesn't break above 440? That's going to be my question to you, Brian. If it continues to get rejected at 440, just like where we were rejected before, it got rejected and sold all the way back off to lows of 325, 322. So because of that, maybe it's not the worst idea to wait for confirmation. It's not that you can't buy it, right, if it does actually indicate signs of an uptrend. But what if we wait for confirmation of this thing getting rejected and selling, or wait for confirmation for this thing to break above that 440 range, 442, And then you can make that informed decision of like, okay, now it's actually doing something that it hasn't done in the past. Because as of right now, we're at that same resistance zone, and the upside potential to 440 versus the downside risk to 330 is not worth it in my opinion. But again, we're all entitled to our own opinion. So you let me know what you think. Wait for a retest, in my opinion. I like that, Chelsea. Higher risk, definitely. All right, DE, what's going on? Zach Young. I appreciate you taking time and tuning on into this live stream. I hope hopefully I earn your thumbs up in this video. So let's look at the overall big picture. Overall, more bullish. Yeah, this is Deere & Co. I like this. So this is probably a company that you either love it or you don't, right? A lot of people grew up loving companies like this, and it looks like it is more bullish than it is bearish. It looks like it's retracing back. It looks very similar to its previous setup. Do you see this? It was a descending pattern, and then all of a sudden it broke above EMA, and it began to rally and form higher highs and higher lows. That's kind of what we're setting up for right now. My question would just be, as long as we continue to show progress above the moving average, great. If this thing comes back down and then breaks below the EMA, I would cut losses there, as it most likely is going to sell right back off. But the upside potential versus the downside risk, I kind of like the risk to reward ratios. It would meet my criteria, but again, just because it meets mine doesn't mean that it has to meet yours. But I'm really happy that I broke this one down. Yeah, so it looks like a 2-to-1 ratio, 16% upside versus a 7 to almost 8% downside. But again, if you manage or mitigate your risk at the EMA, it's going to be a much smaller percentage at risk. So I really like this one. Something we'll have to follow up with and see how it actually performs. So let's go ahead and set our alert. Put an alert for above that specific time or price point. What's going on, Trey? When I look at MAS, M-A-S. Let's go ahead and break this one down. So what do you guys think about this? To me, right off the bat, this thing is screaming overbought. It looks like it's gone on a really nice rally, right? So towards the end of, what is that? October, going into November, a really strong rally, becoming very, very overextended. And it's not that it can't go up further, right? Or higher. That's not the point. Stocks can always trade higher, right? The possibility is always there. The idea is it worth the risk? What is your upside potential versus how much downside risk there is? Now it's so overbought that preparing for a pullback just feels like second nature, right? Also, the volume is relatively pretty low. So for me, I just wouldn't trade something like this. But that would be my biggest thing. Is it has been very consistent. I like that you're paying attention to stocks that are indicating signs of growth, because at least you're not trying to chase the bottom on a stock. You're at least trying to go with the flow. With this, I feel like it would kind of be like you've missed the train on this already. And that's okay. That just means you have to better prepare next time for when the reversal happens like this, right? At the 53, 55, 56 price point, that all would have made sense. Now at 69, 68, it doesn't make too much sense, at least not for me. But again, we all see value in different ways. So if you're like, heck no, this does meet my criteria, Ricky, I think it's going to continue to go up higher, great, all power to you. I'm never here to tell you what to do, right? I'm just sharing my opinion with you on why I think it's overbought and the risk to reward ratios don't make sense. But if you see that there's potential for this thing to go up even higher and you want to take the risk, all I can ever suggest to you is take your risk management into consideration, right? So as long as you have a stop loss, trailing stop, something that at least will mitigate how much money you could potentially lose, then I think you're at least, that's going to have to be your edge. So Chelsea, curious about what you think about Uber might do at open tomorrow, added to the S&P. Yeah, that's going to be quite interesting. I was looking at NASDAQ futures this morning, and Uber, as of right now, is going back to retest its previous all-time high. Do I think that Uber can surpass that, especially with the news? Is that really what? Let me double check. If that news is correct and it's getting added to the S&P 500, that's a huge positive catalyst. And if that's true, yeah, I think that it could be almost a momentum trade where I wouldn't hold it up here, but it would be something that would act as a positive catalyst that would break through 64 possibly, and we'll see if it has that momentum. And it'll probably try to rally for a day or two, or however relevant that news might be. But it's looking very overbought, very overextended, going back to retest previous highs. But again, if news is relevant, then yeah, of course it can continue to make new highs. So definitely something that we'll have to follow up with. Thank you, Ricky, so much. Of course, Brian. Walmart looks oversold to me. Yep, we've been watching Walmart. Walmart has been hurting, to say the least, right? And Walmart has been selling off from highs of 170. Right now it's trading to lows of 150. So Walmart isn't necessarily a stock that I would day trade myself. Again, if you're just asking me that question, this is more of a stock that I would either buy and hold or as a potential swing trade. And the thing that I really appreciate about Walmart, and again, this is just my opinion, you don't have to agree, but you can let me know what you think in the live chat. The thing that I really appreciate about Walmart is overall long-term, how consistently bullish it is, right? Again, looking back, 2011, 2012, 2015, 2020. Overall, Walmart is a strong performing stock. And it's not that it can't get cheaper. I mean, it can sell off to the moving average. That tends to be a common support range. That means that it could potentially sell off to 138. But the idea here is that it's oversold, and this is why I'm watching it. So I haven't purchased any Walmart shares myself, but I like how oversold it is. I like its long-term direction, and I like that it's a good quality company. So if I can buy it for a good deal, and if it ends up recovering right to previous highs or surpasses previous highs, as it has in the past before, then Walmart at the current price point offers around an 11% return. Nothing crazy, but again, you can't say 11% isn't good if you're someone that's consistently losing money in the stock market, right? So the overall idea is that with this offering 11%, it's a slow moving stock, it's a good quality company, it's a blue chip stock, right? And it's a decent price point overall long term. So because of that, this is why I've been watching it, but it has not done anything where it's indicating signs of reversal where I've wanted to purchase it just yet. But yes, it is 100% in my radar. And the thing that I love about this is how simple I can keep it by purchasing a quality company that is oversold based off of recent patterns. Let me know what you think about that one. So we got Duff Bros looking at LNG. I'm going to break down 3 more stocks. So if you want me to break down your stock, please make sure, drop a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and then share your top stock in that live chat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'll do 3 more though. LNG, so wonderful company, great uptrend, and I believe it's pulling back. Yeah, so I can see on the 4-hour time frame that it definitely is pulling on back. On the day chart, it looks pretty solid. On the week chart, it looks very solid, very overbought, but very solid. On the 4-hour time frame, that would be kind of my question. If it does end up finding a support here, so let's see what the upside potential is. 7.4%. This is just me, and this is just me comparing it, right? This thing is very bullish, and it is very consistent. This thing offers about nearly a 7% ROI. Great. Now, I don't like to have multiple different open trades at the same time. So then it kind of brings me back to the question, well, do I want to buy Walmart that I would trust a little bit more, or would I want to buy LNG? And if you're like, no, I would trust LNG more than I would potentially trust Walmart. If that's your opinion, that's the way that you would approach it, then great, right? We still need to wait for confirmation of a reversal. That means breaking above the moving average and breaking above the EMA, and then seeing if we could form higher highs above this to go back up to that 183 resistance. But for me, I really like the setup on Walmart. I know more about it. I know more of what caused it to sell off. And because of that, I would feel more comfortable for this to be either my investment or my swing trade versus LNG. But I agree, LNG does have a really decent setup. It is oversold based off of recent patterns. It's trying to establish its support and then waiting for that confirmation of reversal. If this thing ends up getting rejected and sells back off, then great. This is the beautiful thing about waiting for confirmation, is that you don't have to enter until you have that. So, alrighty. Let's go ahead and do a few more. So we got UAL, that's United Airlines, right, Hendricks? Share our 2 cents with that. So UAL looks like it came from very oversold levels of 33.68. Again, when asking the question, well, what do you mean, Ricky, that it's doing something that it hasn't done in the past before? Well, UAL was selling off, right? Trading below the EMA and trading below the moving average. Now it's doing the opposite. It's showing signs of higher highs and higher lows above the moving average and above the EMA. This kind of reminds me of American Airlines, right? I prefer American Airlines over United Airlines. That's why I make more videos about United. But yes, I like the overall setup on United as well. It's very easy to see the low points, very easy to see the high points. So I do agree with you that it does look oversold. It looks like it's bullish. It looks like it's holding above EMA and moving average. So as long as it stays true to that, then I can see this to be a valid swing trade. If this thing begins to break below EMA and break below moving average, at that point, the trade is no longer valid. The pattern is broken, and I would sell it. Excuse me. All right, let's go ahead and do 2 more. So we got Choppa with BURL. So this Burlington. Yeah, Burlington has very low trading volume and it has not been performing the best. So yes, I do know that it used to hit highs of 350. Burlington to me is just a company that has lost its edge. Feel free to share your opinions about Burlington down in the comment section or in the live chat. But I mean, there's a reason it's been selling off. And this is kind of the scariest thing about it. It's lower highs and lower lows. When you begin to sell yourself the dream that, hey, this thing can go back up to highs of 357, which were like pandemic highs, right? I don't know if it has those capabilities, especially with the, struggling market. Is this just going to form a lower high, meaning that this is its resistance based off previous highs and it's just going to begin to sell off from here? Because of that, I would just have to be very, very careful. And because of its lower trading volume, it's just not something that I would like to expose myself to. It's too risky. It's too bearish, too low of volume, and direction is not in my favor. And because of that, I just would say that it wouldn't meet my criteria. And I think it's overbought based off of recent patterns. I would honestly more entertain the idea of potentially shorting it if it were to break below the EMA than to go long on it. That's how much against it I would be in that sense. But I still don't like the volume, the low volume, and I still don't like how volatile it is. So because of that, I just wouldn't do it. All right, so personally, I wouldn't buy anything until the market dips. Yep, again, you don't have to buy and hold anything right now, right? You still have the approach of being able to day trade something, and there's no question that although the market is overbought, the markets can continue to go up until the end of the year, right? You have to understand that that is definitely a possibility. So, all right, HD Flies, that is Home Depot, right? Home Depot has been doing very, very well. So what does this tell us about Home Depot, right? Came from lows of 276, now trading at highs of 354. Look at that. Amazing performance of a company that you probably wouldn't think would be killing it in 2023. 28%. But in my opinion, and again, it's just my opinion, RSI at 88, almost 90 RSI. MACD is very overextended. It's very bullish, and it looks like it's not holding back. But I would have to accept that I've missed the train on this one. Anytime something rallies like this, it corrects itself pretty hard. And Home Depot has done the same. It rallies very strong, and then it corrects itself just as strong. So it's good to understand the different cycles of the market and how, yes, they can be very beneficial, but they're not going to remain the same forever, right? And that's why I uploaded the video that I did over the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw it. I uploaded it on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So I uploaded it yesterday. And one of the biggest things that I talked about is that if you've been killing it in the market for the past month to 2 months because the market's been incredibly bullish, please understand that the market comes in cycles, right? The reason I made that video is because I want you to keep all the money that you've made. And I want to make sure that if the market does begin to change direction, not that it has to, but that if market conditions do begin to change and they're not as bullish, it's not going to be as easy to make money. So this is where, again, I don't want you to enter this market thinking that you just have to continue to do the same thing you're doing. When market conditions change, your edge at that point then would have to change as well. You can't just go long on stocks that are selling off and still expect to make money when the markets are selling off. So it's just good to be aware of where we stand in that cycle and that we are reaching overbought levels and that we can possibly begin to change direction. Not that we are going to right away, but that we can, and that you're at least aware of it. So if it does begin to present itself, you're able to accommodate those changes appropriately. So again, something more that we'll talk about during tomorrow's live trading session right at market open, and I hope to see you there. So again, I trade live every single morning. If you want to tune on in, it's the second link in the description down below. It is a one-time payment, lifetime access, and yes, you'll get to watch me trade live every single day right at market open. I offer nothing else. So if you're someone that really wants to get into this market, especially in 2024, I'd love to be there for you. And again, it's the second link in the description down below. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note.